between her and her supervisor? Could there be a possibility of transference in that relationship?
Yes.
And so that could have been another area of exploration. Who does she remind you of when she does X, Y, and Z?
Um, I think she reminds me of.
No, I'm saying that's the question. That's a question you could have asked her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
When
All
your
right.
supervisor does X, Y, and Z, anger gets kicked up for you. Is there any incident or past relationship that reminds you of?
Yeah.
And if she has unfinished business back there, that will be an opportunity for her to do some work around that.
Yes.
But it sounds like she benefited from your presence, and you seem to have provided a non-judgmental space for her.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I know I went to approach too. I asked her right before we ended if there was any other spiritual needs that she had, and and I said, you know, that includes just prayer and everything. And she asked me if I could pray for her. So I ended up praying for her.
Cool.
So
yeah. How did that encounter impact you?
It made a really good impact on me. I know one of the things I was working on is feeling comfortable being able to go into the women's unit, being able to do a spiritual assessment, and not feel feel anxious but intimidated, I think, because there are times where I'll go in there and feel intimidated because I'm a male and this person's a woman. And so just the acceptance. And so when I left, I really felt encouraged by it. So,
you bring up a good point. You know, we have this awareness around doing ministry with the opposite gender, taking into account that she has military sexual trauma, as well as PTSD. So are there any specific things that you did to accommodate her, knowing those challenges that she has at the onset of the encounter?
Yeah, I just went in friendly with a smile on my face.
Where did you all meet?
We met in her area, but in the dining room.
Okay. So it was an open space.
So it was an open space.
Public space.
Public space, yeah. And I just asked her, I started out with that, just asking her, hey, how are you doing? What brought you here, kind of thing. And we just ended up starting like that and stuff. But before I did that, I just said, hey, I'm a chaplain. Is there any way I can spend some time with you to do a spiritual assessment? And she was all for it. So
What do you think the environment, how did the environment impact the visit?
I think the environment impacted a lot because there was not a lot of people in the dining room. And so you didn't have a lot of the noise and commotion that's usually in there. Because I know there's been a couple other times I've been there and there where everybody's out there because of them eating lunch or them doing a project. But it was just me and her right there. And the one nurse that ended up letting me in, she was in that room as well, but she was at a different table. So I think just her being present as well helped in the atmosphere.
Cool.
So,
Something else to consider too is
okay.
people with PTSD. Um, have issues with safety. They've learned that the world is not safe, and my experience has been is that they're very particular with how they situate themselves in a room.
Yes.
And so you talk about being welcoming, even asking where, where would you like to sit? What would be most comfortable for you? And oftentimes it'd be an arrangement where they can see the door,
Yes.
because
Because
people
she
with
was.
PTSD often go into rooms kind of casing the place out in case something happens. They're mapping out an escape route. And so anything that you can do to lower her anxiety goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the big things was I gave her the freedom. Hey, where do you want to sit? What table do you want to sit? And she picked a table, and then she did. The way she faced, she had a sight of the door, but she also had sight of the window to the nursing office area. And then before I sat down, I asked her, I said, would it be okay if I sit right here?
Cool.
And she was okay with that. So I think, you were hitting it on the nail. If the patient feels safe and there's a safety net there, that's part of the relationship building and trust, and that'll help them open up as well. So.